Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Rapid Recap here at Inside Nebraska. With me, Steve Marik. I'm Zack Carpenter, and we're here after another one-score loss for Nebraska, this time in Madison, Wisconsin, to the Badgers, 24-17 in overtime. Steve, bugaboos continue. They keep going. I mean, this is 3 straight losses now for Nebraska this season, 10 straight losses to Wisconsin, 7 straight overtime losses, and now this 3rd straight loss is the 3rd straight one-score loss for this team.
And they haven't won a football game here in this city since 1966.
0-6 since joining the Big Ten.
That's an ugly stat right there. But another ugly thing that a lot of people I think are going to be talking about is that final drive in regulation led by Chubba Purdy, who did an excellent job.
2 games in a row.
Yeah, 2 games in a row. Chubba Purdy leading what looked like a promising drive at the end of the game. He started way down there at the 20-yard line, brought it way down here into the red zone. Things were looking good for the Huskers. A lot of timeouts in your back pocket, but I think a lot of people are going to be talking about the time management that went down with Rule and everything, and how they let the clock bleed all the way down to 20 seconds, and then all of a sudden you don't have a lot of time to take some shots in the end zone. It's kind of they look like they were playing it very, very safe, which is the exact opposite of what they did last week against Maryland, where a lot of people were saying, "Hey, let's just run it. Let's get the field goal, put our defense back out there," and they end up throwing it. Chubba Purdy throws the interception. You all remember. Yeah. They do the opposite here and play it very, very conservatively. Don't call their timeouts. They leave some in their back pocket, and Tristan Avano kicks the game. The field goal, game-tying field goal, but then you know how overtime went. Tanner Mordecai, Wisconsin, they won the football game. So
yep. I mean, there was the number 1 storyline has now shifted down to the number 2 storyline emerging from this game. We'll get to that in a second. With Chubba Purdy's performance bringing stability to the quarterback room for once. I mean, I think inarguably the best performance all around for a Nebraska quarterback this season, and that was ruined tonight by some confusing, frustrating, costly time management. And if it was the same thing, if they had lost that game because of being aggressive, too aggressive, you still might be pissed off and frustrated and you might be saying, why were we aggressive there for a 2nd straight week when we didn't need to be? Mm-hmm. And we could have been conservative and won the game. But I think the flip-flopping back and forth, because that's what I come back to. End of the game against Maryland, you come down, and it seemed to be such a clear run the ball. If you score a touchdown, boom, you're up 17-10 after running the ball, which is your offensive identity, what you've championed all offseason, what you guys talk about so often. And if you don't, you kick a field goal, go up 13-10, and let a defense that only allowed 10 points and 3 takeaways up to that point take over, try to win, keep you at 13-10, win the game. And then they talk afterwards and all week, Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield do, about you play to win the game. We want to be aggressive, and we want to teach this team to be a champion, which I totally understand what their end game is, their long-term goal is. We're trying to make these plays that winning teams do, because against Maryland, on that Purdy interception, 3rd and goal from that 7, good teams usually throw the ball in that situation, so they're trying to get there. But then tonight, you see at the end of the first half against Wisconsin, there's 8 seconds left, and the ball is at the 42-yard field goal, so around the 24-25. 8 seconds left with at least 1 timeout. They might have had 2 timeouts left, if my memory recalls, but at least 1. And instead of running the ball with Emmett Johnson or Anthony Grant, maybe getting 3, 4, 5, 6, however many yards.
Help your freshman kicker out a little bit, get a little bit closer, just a little bit.
Just a little bit closer, and I think the situation would have called for that. You're up 14-10, maybe you go into halftime with a 17-10 lead. Instead, they call a really, I don't understand what the play call was with Malachi Coleman. Malachi Coleman winds up being double covered in the back of the end zone. He runs out of the back of the end zone because the pass was so deep. Yeah. And Nebraska's lucky to have 1 second on the clock left at the end of the half for Alvano's 42-yarder, and he pushed it wide right. Yep. And so that's, if you get 4 or 5 yards closer, maybe you're sitting there with a 17-10 lead. And then everything you just talked about there at the end of the game is just, I don't know, it's got to be frustrating for everyone involved.
It seems like Rule and Satterfield are still kind of learning. They're back in college. They're learning they're learning about NIL and the transfer portal and all this, but also like maybe a little rust on the game management issues. I don't know. I mean, they come from the NFL, so it's the same thing over there. But I don't know. I just think it's going to be a massive talking point again. They were too aggressive last week. They were not aggressive this week. What do you want to be? I think that's going to be the top topic here. And Rule was obviously asked. That was the first question posed his way about how he ended the drive of that regulation. Yeah. And he said, at first he wanted to get into the field goal range at first. So, he was very, very focused on getting into field goal range above anything else. And I don't know, I didn't really see. You can go on Inside Nebraska YouTube page and watch Rule answer it. It just didn't really seem like it was that good of an answer to me.
It doesn't feel like the messaging is as straight arrowed or whatever. It doesn't feel like it's been the messaging from Rule and the staff over the past couple weeks is really matching up and is as consistent as we had seen for so long, all offseason and all the way up right until like the last couple games. It's like it just winds up confusing you because, like you said, you go back and forth between what you just said was a really good way to put it. Like you're trying to figure out what you want to be, I think.
Yeah, and Matt Rule in the post-game press conference when he was talking about that last drive, he did mention, looking back, maybe I should have called a timeout well before the 20-second mark, so you had more options to throw it into the end zone and be a little bit more aggressive, like they talked about. But they didn't, and we all watched how it ended. And again, this was kind of a really brutal loss for Nebraska because all the players, even Rule, all the players that came up and talked after the game, some of them had tears in their eyes. And Matt Rule said that it was a very, very brutal look in the locker room. A lot of players heads down. It was just a very kind of solemn feeling. So I think the players really felt this one. I think they really needed this one. They wanted this one. And now they have to, regroup and play, on Black Friday against your rival, your arch rival, the Iowa Hawkeyes, for a bowl game. If you beat them, you go to a bowl. So I think it's going to actually uplift this team. I think they're going to come out pissed off against Iowa, and I think they're going to be hitting hard and everything. And maybe some good can come out of this, even though right now it doesn't really seem like it. Nobody wants to talk about anything positive right now. I think this, in a way, can be a positive for Black Friday against Iowa. We'll see.
Well, if they're going to be playing pissed off against Iowa, it'd probably be a good thing to have Trey Palmer pissed off like he was last year on the morning of the Iowa game. But, going forward, maybe this could be a galvanizing moment. That's what you're saying. I kind of get the sense you believe that and don't believe it, but you are presenting another side of it.
I seem like I'm believing it right now, but I don't want to be on camera and be like, oh, they're going to come out and win that game. But I do kind of just listening to Marquise Buford talk. I'm like, I don't know. He's one of the leaders on the team. He's got fresh legs. He hasn't played a lot this year, and now he's finally out here. I don't know. I bet the leaders of this program come together. They talk about what happened, and they come out, and I think they play just a hard-fought game next week against Iowa, and I don't know, I'm getting good vibes from it. We'll see.
Yeah, I could already see the YouTube comments popping up of us being not angry enough or bashing coaching staffs and players enough. But it is what it is, man. Like we saw it last week, we saw it again this week, and the frustrations of a 3-game losing streak. The worst stretch of games now for Rule. Yeah. They started off 0-2, then they battled back to win 5 of 6, and now they're sitting here at 5-6 after winning 5 of 6, going into an Iowa game that we'll see, man. We'll see if they're able to rally and use this as a turning point. But I don't know. I don't know if you could be feeling too good right now after what just happened, where you go up 14-0, and then it just seems like everything changed. Oh, yeah. The 4th down, they were rolling. They had 2 back-to-back plays of 6 plays, 75 yards over 3.5 minutes, touchdown. Mm-hmm. And then you have 12 plays. You get it down to around the 30-yard line or so. Nebraska did 14-0 lead. Go for it on 4th and 1. And don't get it, and then boom, everything changes, and then it's 14-7. Before you know it, it's 14-10, and before you know it, the time mismanagement at the end of the first half. But in all, that ruined, I think, those questions and talking points sort of overshadow what the number one storyline was going into that. If Nebraska comes out with a win, other than the bowl game and all of that, Chubba Purdy was pretty damn good tonight. I mean, fourth career start, once at Florida State, 2 last year at Nebraska, and finished 15 on 23, 169 yards and a touchdown. And I think he had 16 carries for 105 yards and a touchdown. Those are close. Those are close to the exact numbers. But I mean, he accounted for 75% of the offense tonight. Nebraska did not have a turnover until Purdy's interception on the final play of overtime, which was just a heave to try to get his guy to make a play. I mean, a week after 5 turnovers from the quarterbacks, and he brings instant stability in that game. I was totally wrong about what Purdy could do and what he would bring. I thought he was going to be not that good. We'll put it lightly, but he showed up and showed out tonight.
And he showed up and showed out not 100%. He is not playing with full health, but boy, he really looks like it when he's getting on some of those runs. He is not. I did not expect him to look that fast, but boy, Chubba Purdy can really fly when he gets going. He was running away from dudes today, and then I think he had some strong throws too. Obviously, I think Wisconsin made some adjustments defensively, and as the leaf blowers are accompanying us right now, thanks.
We're at Camp Randall, not Memorial Stadium, but they wanted to make us feel at home. Yeah. They wanted to make us feel like we're at Memorial Stadium after a press conference.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think if you're a Husker fan, I think you like what you saw from Chubba Purdy, obviously, and just another week of practice, and the coaching staff, like we said before, they just need to figure out what they want to be at the end of games and at the end of drives, especially in those situations, because last week it was one thing, this week it was another thing. Just maybe some consistency, and maybe, I don't know, like I said, Rule was maybe second-guessing himself in the post-game press conference with maybe I should have called a timeout well before the 20-second mark, which is when they called it. So, a lot of talking points again this week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the most interesting press conference, maybe Monday presser that we've had of the year.
He might
at least
talk
in the
for
top
15
2 or
minutes.
3. Yeah, it's going to be a loaded one. So, I encourage you guys to like this video and subscribe to the Inside Nebraska YouTube channel so you can get that press conference video dropped directly into your feed on Monday. And we're getting leaf blowers and honks, and that's just a perfect
Thanks,
sign for us to get out of here. But last thing on Purdy, I mean, unquestioned starter, I think, going forward if he's healthy. I mean, no doubt about it. And again, he was really good, and I need to talk about that because I couldn't have been more wrong about the fact that he poured in a great game today. Again, probably the best all-around game for a Nebraska quarterback tonight. But again, we'll have coverage, more coverage on Purdy, more coverage from tonight, and into Sunday and Monday as we look forward to a Black Friday game against Iowa. Iowa's the Big Ten West champs, 9-2, unbelievably 9-2. Kirk Ferentz made a deal with the devil. It's still going on. But
Brian Ferentz got an ice bath at the end of that one. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, wish he would get an ice bath out here so you can know what it's like to be out in this cold. But maybe it was like 20 degrees and wherever they were playing. If they were playing in Iowa City, whatever. We're getting delirious.
Yeah,
we're gonna get out of here. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not ready for it. I know you're a cold guy.
I'm kind of cold though. I don't have my gloves on.
Whatever, Steve. You can stay down here and write your game story in the 20-degree weather. I'll go up to the press box right now. But again, for Steve Marik, I'm Zack Carpenter, and we'll catch you guys again next time.